In this video, we will be discussing the incredible life, talent, and untimely, unfortunate demise of Florence Mills, a forgotten entertainer of the earliest 20th century. She was Harlem's jazz queen who time almost forgot. Long lost and forgotten, but found pioneering singer, dancer, and comedian Florence Mills was a very popular entertainer during the Jazz Age and Harlem Renaissance era. Known as the Queen of Happiness and the Harlem Jazz Queen, Florence is the first Black American to receive national and international fame. Florence was born Florence Winfrey on January the 25th, 1896, near Washington, D.C., to former slaves Nellie Simon and John Winfrey. Florence began performing as a child with her sisters Olivia and Maud under the vaudeville act The Mills Sisters. Here we have a picture of Florence at the age of 5. And she was described as having a lovable, charitable, socially and intellectually aware personality. Not only was she an entertainer, but she utilized her platform and fame to advocate for the human and civil rights for Black Americans. By the age of 5, Florence was a very skilled dancer. She performed under the stage name Baby Florence. And this picture shows her wearing pinned to her chest medals for cakewalking and buck dancing. The bracelet she is holding out was presented to her by the wife of the British ambassador for entertaining the diplomatic set. When asked to remove the bracelet for the photo, she said, "No bracelet, no picture." Florence was skilled in all varieties of jazz and tap dance and was especially renowned for her acrobatic and eccentric dancing. Her lessons in tap came from her close personal friend Bill Bojangles Robinson when she was living in Chicago in 1916 17. So that's a little background on Florence of how she got started in the entertainment business and all of her skills and talents that she acquired over time. In 1917, Florence met dance director and acrobatic dancer Ulysses Slow Kid Thompson, born in 1888 and passed away in 1990 at the age of 101. Just want to throw that in. To whom she will be married from 1921 until her demise. Now, this is an actual photo of Florence and her husband, Ulysses Slow Kid Thompson. And a little bit of background about Slow Kid. He was a very talented entertainer in his own right. So he was a dancing comedian, having learned his trade in the world of circuses and traveling medicine shows in the early years of the century. Florence learned some of her dance skills from her husband, the originator of slow motion dancing and one of the earliest practitioners of Russian dancing or legomania. Slow Kid subordinated his career to hers, acting as her manager, promoter, minder, and companion. Florence rose to fame in 1921 for her performance in Shuffle Along. Her performance received critical acclaim in cities across Europe. Young Florence was taking the world by storm and became known for her strong stage presence, unique voice, and wide-eyed beauty. By 1923, Florence was a bona fide international star due to her performance in the Denver to Dover Street production. And this is Florence right here in the middle of one of her rehearsals for one of her shows. A year later, her role in Lou Leslie's Blackbirds further secured her place as the first Black American national and international star. In 1926, she became the first Black American woman to headline at a Broadway venue. Here's Florence again in one of her rehearsals. Florence's most notable talent was her beautiful, high-pitched, unique singing voice. Her signature song was I'm a Little Blackbird Looking for a Bluebird. Although it is said that there were attempts to record her singing, the primitive recording technology of the early 20th century made it difficult to capture the true essence and beauty of her voice. Therefore, there are no recordings of her singing, nor are there recordings of her performances. All we have left is descriptions of how great an entertainer she was by fans, including other famous Black American entertainers like Duke Ellington and Ethel Waters. For example, they say her voice was described by her fellow entertainers and fans as full of bubbling bell-like bird tones, a rather magical thing, silvery and funny little sounds that flutter out like a sparrow's from an inexhaustible nest. Florence's influence has also been described as Florence Mills was for London what Josephine Baker was to Paris. After falling ill with tuberculosis due to exhaustion caused by too much stress and overworking, unfortunately, Florence passed away on November the 1st, 1927, 4 a.m. at just 31 years old. And a little bit more about her death, her untimely demise death. Exhausted from more than 300 performances of the hit show Blackbirds in London in 1926, she became ill with tuberculosis. She died of infection following an operation at the Hospital for Joint Diseases in New York City, New York on November 1st, 1927. There's some sources that say it was appendicitis instead of tuberculosis. So we have two different causes of demise there. Um, she was 31 years old. Most sources, including Black newspapers such as the Chicago Defender and the Pittsburgh Courier, and mainstream publications, including the New York Times and the Boston Globe, reported that she passed away of complications from appendicitis. On November the 6th, 1927, Florence Mill's funeral was the largest Harlem had ever seen. There's a legend that a flock of blackbirds flew over the funeral cortege. In Porter Granger's words, she has gone to join the songbirds of heaven. Elaborate plans to erect monuments to her all fizzled out. Her last words were, I don't want anyone to cry when I die. I just want to make people happy, always. So, yes, so that's more details about her untimely demise from florencemills.com. There's a website that's dedicated to her legacy. She was memorialized in songs such as Duke Ellington's Black Beauty and Fats Waller's Bye Bye Florence. A salute to this history and herstory making sister. May she continue to rest in peace and power. Thank you for watching. Please comment your thoughts on this video about Miss Florence Mills, on her life, her incredible talent, and untimely demise. Please share this out, like, and subscribe.